Welcome to week 5 of the devlog. This week we're going to be talking about abilities, introduce ones we kind of have either in the stage of early development or just the ideas of some of them.
Yeah. And development also kind of happened alongside Valorant's release too, which was like, taking CSGO and adding abilities. And so it was kind of like during the ability craze where everyone was adding abilities to every game,
Basically, starting off each game, you'll have 3 abilities. We've mentioned this for the past 3 weeks in a row, but you get 3 perks, 3 abilities. And so every game you get to pick 3 of your abilities, and then the kind of idea is that every ability can kind of combo into each other, or at least it was at the start. Now they're kind of have their own categories, but at first it was like trying to have everything that can combo in each other, and for the most part they still can.
They still can. There are some that are kind of
each ability
oddball,
should
though.
combo with at least a few other abilities.
Yeah.
Not every ability can combo with every ability. It's more so just one ability might be able to combo with a few others, or kind of like in Apex when you create a team of characters.
They
you have like
all kind of work together. Exactly.
GB Octane and a Bloodhound. You have your defensive, your movement, and your info. Right. It's kind of like the same thing, but with your 3 abilities that can help you do whatever. And we don't limit you to type of abilities either, because like we have visual, we have movement, we have I think we have a list of it. Yeah, visual, movement, sound, crowd control. They're probably less categories now, but
yeah,
they're
kind of
still
all
they're still within kind of that thing.
Yeah.
And we don't limit you. You could pick 3 movement abilities, 3 CC abilities, kind of whatever you wanted.
I'll just preface this. We have abilities that are kind of incomplete, kind of like workshopping that, every once in a while you have an epiphany and you add it to the list, and then, we're like, that's either not good or whatever, and we adjust it, we add a cooldown to it, maybe we, try to visualize it a bit more, try to get kind of a idea of where it kind of fits in the play style of the game. And if it, completes every category part, it completes our checklist, I guess, then it can be moved up to the next. And so we have kind of a big set of abilities that kind of have already moved up to like a development point of view part.
Right.
And then we have another part of abilities that are like all incomplete, and we'll kind of go over either one. I don't really like CC a lot. Not a lot of people do. But the CC in our game, they're few and far between, and they're pretty rewarding in the way that like they're very difficult. I'll just preface this as very difficult skill shots to hit to get that kind of CC reward. It's easy to dodge. There are things that you can do to negate the ability, like the what am I trying to figure out? The effectiveness of the CC.
Yeah.
Like if you know the person's gonna go CC, or if you really hate CC, there are things you can do to negate CC. There are perks, there's abilities, there are things that you can do to just not ever have to do a CC ever. Depending on obviously how good you are.
So far that like completely stops you.
There's nothing like that. Yeah.
Stops you. But there's stuff that can like slow down your speed, and so you could negate that with having a grapple. So when you get hit with it, you try to grapple out of it and keep your speed up.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna go too crazy into like actual statistical numbers on the stuff.
Yeah, definitely not.
But I will say one of the original ideas, at least for me, when I was like, hey, I want a projectile thing that like I wanted a gun basically. So if you actually really like FPS games and you don't want to have to run around and try to tag someone without a gun, then you could still have a gun. It's okay, So you can choose a gun if you want.
Well, it's gonna be very hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard to shoot, but you can have it anyways. You're like, I need the gun. I need it. There's a lot of different things. Like each rank will have its own kind of meta abilities based on the amount of skill that you have. Like for example, if like for these projectile weapons, you have to be able to shoot someone going very fast and have to like lead your shots. And so it's going to be good in low elo if you are good at aiming, because people don't know how to move. And it's going to be really bad in mid elo as far as our assumptions go, because people are not going to know how to move and people are going to know how to shoot, but they just cancel each other out. And in high elo, they're going to be really good because you can only move so fast and you can only evade so well. People are going to start understanding how do people move and then reading their shots from there. You have a gun, you have a set amount of ammo. If you hit a shot, it does a certain amount of like speed decay, basically. So if you hit a shot, they lose 10% of their speed. You hit another shot, they lose another 10% of their speed. You hit another shot, they lose another 10% of their speed, right? And so like, each shot you hit consecutive slows them down more, allowing you to catch up to them and tag them. But if they choose that ability and they don't know how to aim, they just have no ability, basically. So So, or if they choose that ability and you know how to dodge, then you win. So that's kind of where the CC's at, and most CC kind of follows that rules where it's like really rewarding, but only really rewarding if you're really consistent. Cool. Yes, that covers like one of the abilities. So is there any of the abilities that you kind of want to cut? That one's one that like I like a lot, and I have added a couple other ones that are all kind of follow the same idea where they're like hard CC but projectile based and kind of, you know, fun to mess around with.
That's kind of like the only skill shot that's moved up to early development.
Yeah, that's the only one we have right now that's actually like finalized.
I do want to cover a few other ones because like
I was
making metas with these. So I want to cover my nostalgia and ghillie suit combo that I came up with when we were like doing stuff.
So explain both the abilities first, and then we'll go from there.
So ghillie suit lets you go invisible 3 seconds.
Yep.
When we were like conceptualizing the game, the other ability rewind is rewind. You rewind yourself in time like 2 seconds. But the idea was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if like you're running off a building, you press ghillie suit, and then you use nostalgia to rewind yourself behind, like if you're getting chased. And that was kind of like my main kind of way I would talk about like how abilities would combo with each other would be because like you can use multiple abilities at once sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you can't
certain ones.
I think like it kind of depends what they do.
Yeah.
Like you can't like hold glue gun and then use grapple while you're using your glue gun. But
yeah,
if you're like cloaking yourself, you can use glue gun maybe. The idea behind it is there's flammable abilities, smoke abilities, and air displacement abilities because it was when we were like inspired a lot by Spellbreak to have abilities like further combo with abilities and allow for other counterplay.
Yeah.
Like we have an ability that this is kind of like one of the theory crafted abilities if we want to move it to. Yeah, the trick bow. There it is. It's a bow with like 4 different type of arrows. Yeah, we're not gonna go all the.
Just go over each one.
It has like 4 different type of arrows. Each arrow has a different effect, and it kind of just cycles through, or maybe it's random. We haven't fully decided. It's up to testing. But one of the abilities is like a giant. It's like you can shoot it and it like summons like a giant mushroom.
Yeah, it's called Spore.
That's in there, right? Yeah. But say something like you have like a fire ability, you light on fire and it explodes with like spores and creates like a big smoke screen everywhere in place of the mushroom thing, right? So we can have different effects with the abilities, so abilities feel much more like you can fight each other with them.
You have 5 different arrows.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't. Okay. Either you get to choose by purposely using ones that you don't want to use to get to the one you want.
So it's like a cycle. So
yeah, or it's a randomized and you get a random one and who cares, you know? And then you're just like sad if you get the wrong one. We haven't decided which one we want to do. I really don't like RNG. You have one arrow that grows a big old mushroom. You can use it to bounce up in the air. You can use it to block off alleyways. You can do. You can launch your opponent up in the air. I don't know what happens if you shoot them with it. We haven't decided that. You have like not a miniature grapple, but you have like a miniature grapple as like your second arrow.
Yeah, it's less of a grapple that will pull you in, kind of like a regular grapple does.
Yeah.
It like hooks on, so you can.
And then you can
it,
swing.
Like your momentum. Yeah.
So you can swing around things. Then you have frequency shift, which is like it creates like a zone. So you shoot the arrow, it creates like a zone. And if you go inside of it, it inverts your colors. So.
Yeah, inverts your colors, and I think.
And it also
it creates
you?
like a. It has like pulses off your body. So like say you're walking through, there'll be like white pulses that go out through the thing, and then, I believe there's sound, but.
It's all that one's up to that. This one's very.
Yeah, it's still
it's highly theoretical. I'll be honest.
So if you're in the dome, you can't hear anything outside of it. If you're inside the dome, you can only hear anything inside of it.
The next one is body cam. If you hit an opponent with the arrow, then it puts a tracker on them.
These get extremely much more experimental as this goes down.
This one's just confusing. This one's just long. This one's like Aphelios passive, So yeah, so hitting the skill shot of hitting a bow shot on the person will allow you to basically ping them and tell how fast they're going at any given time.
Yeah, because the reason it takes up 2 slots is slot 1 gives you bow. Yeah, true. Slot 1 will equip your bow, and then slot 2 swaps your arrows and loads in your arrows. At least that's what we have said.
The last one is a bomb. It's like a smoke bomb. You shoot it, and
Well, it's
and it can be blown up.
Oh yeah. It's like a weird.
It's like a fire. It's like a fire smoke
Yeah,
bomb. So you can use it as fire because it's flammable. But otherwise it creates
it can
smog.
trigger flammable effects.
And like the interactions with the bow itself are kind of cool if you can find a way to. And again, this order also might be changed as well if it is a standard order. Whatever. That one's fun. That one's a fun project to work on because it's like 5 abilities in one, and you can make them kind of OP, but at the same time not OP because you have to like be able to cycle back and forth between them and have to use your brain and be like, okay, the next cycle I'm gonna get is this one, or if I get this one, what am I gonna do with it? You know.
Right.
Or how do I make this work with my one other ability? It also takes up 2, so really it's kind of balanced. So yeah, we're talking about all the weird ones that haven't passed.
Yeah, haven't passed inspection.
Yeah. Okay.
This one is still a heavily work in progress. This is more,
but it's just we're just getting an idea of like what kind of creativity we can give to players. Like if you get an idea of like some of these that we're kind of sharing. We're kind of trying to make all of our abilities similar in complexity.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for it.
So, one-side staring contest. After enabled, it surrounds your vision and max views maybe 4 or 5 feet. An internal countdown will begin from 5 seconds. If your crosshair is on the enemy at the end of the ability, they are slowed 25% speed, and their vision is also impaired for 3 seconds.
So that's a little bit confusing to read it out.
Yeah.
Basically, you activate the ability. It gives you, the activator, a blind. You get blinded, and you can maybe see 4 or 5 feet in front of you. Yeah. After 5 seconds, if your crosshair is on the enemy player, like while you're blinded the entire time.
Yeah.
This is happening. So you have to be either close enough to see them, or guess, or something. Maybe use another ability to stop them from running.
Some things like perks and stuff that are highlighting people.
That would help you too. Yeah, exactly. So you'd be able to combat. So, you'd be able to combo those together. And so what that does is it slows you by 25%. At the end of the 5 seconds, if you're looking at them, they get slowed for 25% of their speed and have the same visual impairment that you had for 3 seconds, while yours isn't there anymore. Does that make sense? So you can give them a 25%. So that's a hard CC. That's a hard CC. That's not a hard skill shot to hit. That's like you can hit through walls if you want, but you have to combo it. You have to like waste valuable perks. You have to
combo it, and you have to make sure.
You have to waste valuable perks and other maybe valuable abilities.
Because perks you get the whole game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are kind of the ideas of those like highly not theoretical, but like very experimental, I would say. Like this you would not see this in any game ever. We added like I don't know if you like a Mario Kart, like there's boots that make you grind, like you can drift, like in Mario Kart. Yeah, those are pretty sick because like the balancing part for those, and there's no cooldown on that thing. As far as I'm aware, no, there's 3 charges, but they charge up fast. And like that is like these abilities are like fundamentally changing the way you play the game. Right? Certain abilities don't do that. Certain abilities are like, oh yeah, you still can wall bounce. You can still do this. You can still do that. But if you choose the traction trainers and you want to drift, you got to stay on the ground. And it's like you just have to be good at drifting. And that's just kind of the way that you're going to play the game. Is that you're going to choose an ability that will fundamentally change the way that you would go about like running away or chasing someone. Not completely. Like obviously you can still wall bounce. You can still do whatever. But you're going to be on the ground more because that's one of your abilities is to be on the ground and do grind.
Because the idea is that, I don't know, we don't know schedule yet, obviously, because we don't know how hard the abilities will be to develop and then balance and get in. But the idea is that we'd have an update introducing a new ability every, few weeks, every other week, every month maybe. Introducing new abilities and perks on a consistent basis, allowing for there to be an ever-growing like opportunities to create cool metas and stuff, as well as creating consistent content. All right, thank you guys for joining us for week 5 of the devlog. This has been abilities and kind of like our ability pipeline, I guess I could say. Just a little bit more insight into the abilities and what they are. Next week we'll see what we end up doing. We might end up doing mods or perks, whatever we call them.
Whatever you call them.
Yeah. What do we
Makes
do?
sense.
We might end up doing those next week. Might do something else next week. You never know. But subscribe. Stay tuned for each weekly
For upcoming
updates
content
on our game.
See ya.
And definitely subscribe for the first draft episode. That's coming out soon.
We will see you guys next week for episode 6.
Yep. See you guys then.